there, my name is Sarah. Welcome to my channel. So today I realized I never actually did the new To Booktube tag, and although I have been making videos for several months now, my channel is still really small, so I figured, why not? Technically I can still call myself new, because nobody really knows me. I'm tiny. I'm a very tiny channel, so I'm still gonna do it, even though I've been making videos for like 5 or 6 months now. I'm gonna do the new To Booktube tag. So this tag was made by Trina at Between Chapters. I will link it down, like her original video, down in the description. Not that I'm sure everyone already knows who she is and has known about this tag or whatever, but anyway, let's get on with it. So the first question is, where are you joining us from? I live in Rhode Island in the US. Number 2, how old are you? I am 33 years old. Number 3, why did you join BookTube? This is a question I feel like everyone probably gives the same answer to. I just love reading. I love books. I don't have a ton of bookish friends in real life. My husband does read quite a bit, and he reads kind of the same books that I do, so I do talk to him, but sometimes you want to talk to somebody besides your husband about books, so I have a camera to talk to now. Number 3. Nope, that was number 3. Number 4. What's the meaning behind your channel name? My name is Sarah and I heart books. So there you go. Number 5. What type of books do you read / want to talk about here? I read a lot of fantasy, romance, and I really like thrillers, although I don't really read as many of those. I'd say my 2 main genres are fantasy and romance, like romantic contemporaries and stuff like that. Okay, number 6. Who are some of your favorite authors? So right now I would say Brandon Sanderson for fantasy, Christina Lauren for like contemporary romance. I really like Sarah J. Maas, but I feel like especially on BookTube recently, that's kind of more of like a guilty pleasure. People seem to like trash her books a lot, but I actually really liked A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury, so I haven't finished the 3rd one yet, but you know, I guess that's kind of my guilty pleasure author is Sarah J. Maas. But yeah, I really like Brandon Sanderson's writing style. Christina Lauren, I just like, I love their books so much. I haven't read enough of them. I'm working on it. I have a couple more like, on my TBR right now through the end of the year that I'm looking forward to reading. But yeah, so I'd say those 2 are probably my favorite right now, or those 3. Number 7, what's the last book you read? So the last book I finished was Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Rosh. It's a YA fantasy. I gave it 3 stars, so it wasn't really my favorite thing in the world, but that was the last book I finished. The last book I actually actively was, taking in, because I didn't read it, I listened to it on audiobook. I was listening to, oh my god, I just blanked. The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. That I'm enjoying a lot more than Snow Like Ashes. That I am 75% through, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I actually already have the 2nd one from the library, so I'm going to continue on with that series. Like, as soon as I finish, I'm basically going to start the next one. Yeah, so those are my 2 answers for that question, I guess. What are you currently reading? Oh, well, maybe if I had paid attention to the questions, I wouldn't have just answered this one in the last one. So what I'm currently reading, well, I guess there's a few things that I'm currently reading. I have a problem. I'm listening to The Lies of Locke Lamora on audiobook. I am physically reading Well Met by Jen DeLuca. And I am kind of like overarchingly reading throughout the month of September and now into October, Gardens of the Moon by Stephen Erickson, which is the first book in the Malazan series that's like 1,000,000 books long. Yeah, so I have a problem when it comes to reading. I can never read just one thing. I always have like a bunch of stuff going. So it's kind of frustrating when I do like wrap-ups and stuff. I'm like, I finished like 3 things this month, but that's because I read half of like 10 other things. But I'm working on it. I swear I'm working on it. Please don't click out of the video and run away from my channel screaming. I am working on it. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Question 9 is, what do you use for bookmarks? Gum wrappers, paper scraps, coupons, actual bookmarks, sometimes, if I can't find any paper scraps, gum wrappers, or coupons. I'm one of those people, I'll just throw like whatever is flat. Like, I'm not like crazy. I won't throw like a scrunchie in my book and call it a bookmark, but like, you know, any random like scrap of paper or anything flat that I can use as a bookmark is basically in a book. Like, yeah, so I'll use anything as a bookmark, really. Show us your current TBR pile. My husband kind of invaded my TBR stack. These are mine, these are his, and then these two are mine. So that's kind of what's on my TBR right now. And then Lord of the Rings over here is technically on my TBR, but it's not like, I don't actively plan to read it anytime soon, but it is technically on my TBR. So that is my little TBR stack right there. Which do you prefer, hardcover or paperback, ebooks or physical books, owning or borrowing books? So I really like hardcover books because they're easier to keep nice. But in terms of like reading and like the feel of a book in my hands, I love those big floppy paperbacks that just kind of like flop open and you can just lay them on the desk and they'll like stay open. Those are my absolute favorite. I love those. I prefer physical books to ebooks, but at the same time, I understand and I can appreciate the convenience of ebooks. I am a person that if I'm reading this giant fantasy book, I'm not going to lug that around with me. I'll just throw my e-reader in my purse and I'll just read whatever I have going on my Kindle at the time on the go, because I don't want to lug around a huge book with me. It's just very convenient to have the little Kindle or whatever that you can just shove in your purse and go. So, and between owning or borrowing books, I don't really care either way. I don't have a problem with borrowing books. I do use my local library. I like owning the books that I love, but I don't necessarily feel that I need to own every single book I read. So I guess that's my answer for that one. Number 12, what book or series got you into reading? So the two things that I remember vividly reading when I was younger are Babysitter's Club and the Alana series, or like the Alana Quartet by Tamora Pierce. Who wrote Babysitter's Club? Ann M. Martin. I owned like every single one of those, like every single one. I had the whole series. At least the original ones. I didn't have like all the spin-off ones, but I loved them. I read them all multiple times. And yeah, the Alana Quartet, I read, I don't even know how many times I read it. I loved it so much. I kind of blame that for my love of fantasy, because that was my first real like foray into fantasy, was the Alana Quartet. Yeah, so those are my earliest kind of memories of reading chapter books, at least. And yeah, I'd say that is definitely what got me into reading. And yeah, I've just always loved reading ever since I was a kid. What number am I on? How did you discover BookTube? Number 13. It was an accident. I was actually watching one of the beauty gurus that I used to follow, and she had a second channel where she just talked about like random life stuff. And one of the things she did was she reviewed books, and, you know, she just like talked about books. And I was like, I like books. Like, is this a thing? Do other people talk about books? So I don't remember exactly what I did, but I went into the YouTube search bar and I just typed in like books or like reading or something, and a bunch of people popped up, and I was like, wow, this is a thing. This is awesome. These are my people. And yeah, so I started watching probably, I want to say in like 2016. And then I made a channel and I made like a couple of videos, but then I never did anything with it. And then I deleted it. And then I restarted in 2019 with this channel. And I don't see myself quitting anytime soon. Even if nobody watches my videos, I really enjoy making them. So yeah. Number 14, what challenges do you think you'll face with your own channel? Probably like mostly to do with quality. I don't really have a lot of money to sink into like fancy equipment and stuff. So like right now I borrowed a tripod from my husband that he bought for himself for something, and my cell phone. Eventually I would like to get like a mic or some lighting, or maybe upgrade to like at least a cheap camera or whatever, but I feel like that's my biggest challenge is I want my videos to be better quality, but I don't really have the funds to just like sink into a YouTube channel right now anyway. That, and I don't know. Sometimes I feel more creative than others. Sometimes I have like a hard time coming up with video ideas. I want to get away from just doing like TBRs and wrap ups and like whatever. I just need to come up with some original ideas. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes I'm more creative than other times. Sometimes it's really hard for me to come up with anything besides, hey, here's a TBR. So yeah, but I'm going to work on it. And I'm going to do a lot of research by watching a lot of other people's booktube channels. So there you go. And number 15 is, where else can we find you? Link up. I don't use Twitter. I don't have a Bookstagram, but I do link my Goodreads in the bottom of all of my, like in the description of all of my videos, because I'm not like necessarily very active on Goodreads, but it's a lot more up to the minute. Like if anybody cares like what I'm reading at any given moment, I'm usually pretty good about updating my Goodreads. So I do link my Goodreads in all of my videos. So yeah, that was it for the new To Booktube tag. I believe I answered all the questions. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you will consider subscribing if you liked the video. Yeah, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.